usually do civil trials in here, so it's nice that everybody shows up and will be a part of it. I'm just gonna go over what a public meeting is in Georgia. And the monthly Union County meeting is where the official business, policy, or public matter of Union County is formulated, presented, discussed, and or approved. Each meeting will consist of a multitude of topics for Union County that will be discussed with the public. The public can add up to 3 topics per meeting. That's being on the agenda. Everybody will get 5 minutes apiece for that. If you want to be on the agenda next time, just please call up the county commissioner's office and request that the Monday before noon prior to the meeting, okay? After that, after the meeting, the commissioner, once it's closed down, will open up a question and answer session. And anybody can ask any questions they want on the agenda topics. So if you want something to talk about, it's not on the agenda, again, just call up the county commissioner's office. Please request that the Monday before noon prior to the public meeting. We'll put it on the agenda and give you time to talk about it, then we'll discuss all we need to in the question and answer session, okay? I've also been told from the clerk, several people called up having questions about the Open Meetings Act, okay? The Open Meetings Act in Georgia can be found in OCGA 5014 1 through 4, okay? What it is a gathering or quorum of members of the governmental body or an agency in which official business, policy, public matter of the agency is formulated, discussed, and voted upon, okay? Now what that means is, I think where a lot of people are getting confused, most counties have a board of commissioners, usually 5, maybe more. There's only 8 counties, we're one of the lucky ones, that only have a sole commissioner. So anytime all those members of that board get together, that is going to be considered a public meeting, which all public has to have notice of, okay? Staff meetings between individual commissioners and department heads and stuff like that is not considered a public meeting. That is a staff meeting for any investigative purposes to determine policy and procedure of how the county should go forward. And then that policy and procedure gets put out here for the public to see. Now, if anybody has any questions about the Public Meeting Act, I'm going to stick around afterwards. I'll be happy to talk to anybody for any length of time after the meeting's done, okay? During the meeting, let's everybody be civil, let's keep it decorum. I know everybody will. And, you know, if someone gets rowdy, there is a criminal statute for interrupting public meetings. I know no one's going to do that. Let's all just keep it civil. Let's keep everything to the agenda topics, question and answer sessions. Ask any questions you want to. We'll give every answer we can on the topics on the agenda. Thank y'all.
Thanks, William. Our next order of business is a proclamation for Dr. James Farnell. Dr. Farnell, are you here? Would you come up? Just let you stand right here. Watch all this. Okay. Whoever decided to put this new stuff up here, it's a hazard, so just watch it. Whereas Dr. James Farnell was born on December the 5th, 1942 in Bristol, Virginia, and then his family moved to Jacksonville, Florida. Whereas Dr. James Farnell attended Jacksonville University and went to the graduation from the University of Florida with a Bachelor of Science in 1965. Whereas Dr. Farnell married his wife Linda shortly after his graduation, and they went on to welcome 3 children into their family, Amy, Wendy, and Brian. Whereas Dr. Farnell received his Master's of Science in 1967 and graduated from the University of Florida in 1971 with his medical degree. And whereas Dr. Farnell then moved to Baltimore, Maryland, where he completed his medical internship in 1972 and his residence in 1974 at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Whereas Dr. Farnell joined the United States Army Medical Corps in 1974, being stationed at Fort Benning in Columbus, Georgia, where he served honorably until 1979, when he was discharged from the United States Army Reserves with the rank of Major. And whereas Dr. Farnell returned to Florida and completed his cardiology fellowship in 1979 at the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida. And whereas after completing his cardiology fellowship, Dr. Farnell moved his family to Norfolk, Virginia, where he spent the next 6 years establishing his cardiology career, and then returned home to Florida, where he continued private practice for 23 years. And whereas in 2008, Dr. Farnell and his wife Linda made Union County, Georgia their home, and Dr. Farnell joined Northeast Georgia Health System, opening a cardiology practice in Blairsville, Georgia. And whereas Dr. Farnell has provided exemplary medical care to the people in our region during his 13 years of practicing in Union County, and after 46 years of a distinguished career in cardiology, Dr. Farnell plans to retire December 31st, 21. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Commissioner Lamar Parrish, hereby proclaim today, November the 18th, 2021, is Dr. James H. Farnell Jr. Day in said county, and express admiration and appreciation for all of his contributions made to our community. Want to say a few words?
We're glad to have him.
Appreciate that.
Yes, hang on just a minute. Do you have any other family or workers here?
No, Miss Karen Dinsmore, who's the office manager at the office, is here.
Okay.
And we've got staff members here and Dr.
Why don't y'all come on up here so we get a picture with y'all of them.
We met one time, yes, a long time ago.
You told me there was nobody here.
Well,
Well, y'all slide on over this way, just watch through this cord, and y'all just line up right here as close as you can get together facing the audience. Just come on up. Come on up.
I'm gonna do a couple. Look over this way. There we go, thanks.
Thank you again very much. Thank you, ladies, for looking after it.
they have done an excellent job.
Sure.
Thank you all.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, our next will be a proclamation for William Clyde Collins. Do we have anyone here with his family?
He's my uncle,
Is your uncle? That counts.
but nobody else is here
You can come up here and
and receive
stand,
a.
and I've already been out to his house and made a presentation to him, but not a presentation to the public, so. So if you'll just stand and tell us who you are.
Alexis Moore, and this is my 100-year-old uncle.
Right, very good. And a lot of us know him well and have had classes with him, and he served as our principal and superintendent. I was trying to remember if he had ever given me a whipping. I wasn't sure. I think he may be one of the people that did not, but there were plenty of others that had the opportunity.
My uncle.
So William Clyde Collins was born on November the 7th, 1921 in Union County, and he just celebrated his 100th birthday. Mr. Collins married Roma Sue Turner, and they had 4 children, Bill, Carolyn, Debbie, and Carlton. Mr. Collins graduated from Union County High School in 1938, completed 2 years at Young Harris College, and began teaching at the age of 18 years old. Clyde went on to serve in the United States Army Air Corps from 42 during World War II and earned the rank of sergeant. After his military service, Mr. Clyde went on to attend the University of Georgia, earning a BS degree in education, and then came back to teach in Union County for the next 40 years. Mr. Collins was a teacher, principal, a superintendent, who also worked with TVA on the construction of the Notley Dam. I don't think there was anybody else here at that time that worked on that project. And he was instrumental in getting the Head Start program up and running in Union County. I hereby proclaim November the 7th, 2021 as William Clyde Collins Senior Day in Union County, and express admiration and appreciation for all the contributions made to our community by Mr. Collins over the span of decades. You get to stand in for the whole
I will, for the
family.
whole
Yes.
giant family.
Yes.
Good job, Alexis.
You haven't by chance got a picture of him, do you?
I don't. I could get
Item number 4 is Retired Educators Day. Do I have any of those folks?
She's 97, she's sharp as a whip, and she'll
Okay.
have a picture, that's his
We're
wife.
also able to present this to them earlier too.
And if you can.
Item 4 is a proclamation hereby proclaim November 7th, 2021 as Retired Educators Day. More than 140,000 retired educators have devoted their time and talents to public education in our state and have touched the lives of generations of young people, promoting them to become responsible, contributing citizens to our city and county. Retired educators have valuable knowledge and experience in use in that varied ways to enrich our quality of life and to help set the direction for education in the future. For 63 years, the Georgia Retired Educators Association has dedicated its efforts to improving the welfare of retired educators, and the Union County Retired Education Association has supported numerous local activities and initiatives, scholarships, informational programs, recognition of outstanding teachers and students, and other resources. Citizens of Georgia and Union County are grateful for the contributions our retired educators have made and continue to make to the advancement of our children and their future and to the betterment of our community. Item 5, I hereby adopt this revised drug and alcohol testing policy for the Union County Transit System as required by the Georgia Department of Transportation. This same policy was adopted at the April 20th, 2021 county meeting. However, GDOT, Georgia Department of Transportation, has recently determined that they left something off of the policy, which was a footer that states that the version of zero tolerance policy this is. So this revision adds zero tolerance dash version 0421 to the bottom of each page of the policy. These policies are based on federal and state guidelines for testing of safety sensitive employees, specifically the drivers of the transit buses for the Union County Transit System, and for personnel that maintain these buses. Item 6, I hereby accept this agreement between Union County and IWRQ, systems software that is utilized for public works tracking, tracking in the amount of $12,000 annually with an effective date of October the 22nd, 2021. This software is utilized by the Building and Development Office for tracking permits and inspection. Item 7 is an agreement. I hereby approve this agreement between Union County and Cassell Incorporated for the accounting software utilized by the Union County government. The cost of this agreement is $2,117 per month for 1 year. There is no cost increase from the previous year. Item number 8, I hereby approve this agreement between Union County and GovOS for management of short-term rentals in Union County. The amount of the contracts is $48,219.30 annually with an effective date of November the 5th, 2021. This company will provide short-term rental discovery, which means finding who all other short-term rentals are, short-term rental identification, ad listings and property reconciliation, data reporting, online registration, and payment integration. The cost of this service will be covered in part by the Union County Chamber of Commerce, along with an increase in the cost of business license for short-term rentals to cover the remaining cost. The services company will be providing are currently handled by staff in my office and staff in the tax commissioner's office. Item number 9 is a resolution. I hereby approve resolution R-2021-11, authorizing the filing of an application with the Georgia Department of Transportation and the United States Department of Transportation for a grant for public transportation assistance under Title 49 USC Section 5311. This is for the grant we receive each year for the Union County Transit buses. Item number 10, resolution R-2021-12. I hereby approve this resolution appointing Gavin King as the floodplain administrator for Union County as required by Section 34, Article 3, Section 34-71 of the Union County Code of Ordinances. Gavin King has been employed in the Building Inspection and Development Office for over 16 years and has all the required training and perform the duties required as a floodplain administrator. Gavin will be taking on the role of Chief Building Inspector, as our longtime Chief Building Inspector, Randy Day, will be leaving us fairly soon. Item 11 is resolution R-2021-13. I hereby approve this resolution to open a separate bank account for the Union County Transfer Station. Union County has taken over the operations of the commercial side of the transfer station that was formerly operated by Waste Management, and a separate checking account must be established for the funds paid into and paid out for the transfer station. Item 12 through 15 are business licenses. If you've been here, I hereby approve the following business licenses. As a reminder, Union County only issues a business license for the purpose of collecting hotel motel taxes. The four licenses are Hartley and Richards Consulting, 905 Garrett Circle. Renegade Storage Incorporated, 706 Cozy Cove Road. Sliding Rock Cabins, 221 West Reese Creek Road. And Cozy Cabin, 541 Cozy Cove Road. Okay, item 16 is Laurie Brothers has requested to be on the agenda again to speak about vaccines and T-Splosh. Ms. Brothers, please come up and you have 5 minutes. There'll be a timer set for everyone.
I'll be right behind you, doing the same thing. I'm all disorganized here. So, there we go. And rearrange some things. All right. Thank you for having me. To God be all glory, and I want to thank my Lord Jesus Christ in advance for what he is going to do. My verse for over 2 years now is Exodus 23:8, and thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise and perverteth the words of the righteous. Listen to the wisdom of our founding father of the United States, Benjamin Rush. Unless we put medical freedom into the Constitution, the time will come when medicine will organize into an undercover dictatorship to restrict the art of healing to one class of men and deny equal privileges to others. The Constitution of the Republic should make a special privilege for medical freedoms as well as religious freedom. Here at Union General, our heroes of last year will be unemployed in December, just in time for Christmas, if they don't get the jab. We are already shorthanded. I encourage you, Mr. Parris, to use your influence to encourage the hospital to stop this madness immediately. And I have been amiss not doing so earlier, but I do want to put you on notice, and I'll bring that tomorrow to you. As we speak, there is an international team of lawyers and medical experts seeking to charge the CDC, the WHO, and others with crimes against humanity. The protocol for the PCR test given by the WHO and the CDC was knowingly set to a level that guaranteed 100% false positives or false negatives. So there is no pandemic. This is all about getting people to get the shot, the fraudulent experimental shot that is in violation of all 10 Nuremberg codes, which you have right there, which carry the penalty of death for those who violate them. For the week ending November 5th, total deaths, according to the VAERS website, additionally reported 388 more deaths, and the injuries in 1 week were 22,550. Lord help me. So, ran across this today, Isaiah 45:18. For thus saith the Lord, that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth and made it. He hath established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited, not depopulated. I am the Lord, and there is none else. Thankfully, let me get this one in. 1 John 1:5-6. This then is the message which we have heard of him and declare unto you, that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. If we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. Thankfully, T-SPLOS did not pass. Mr. Paris had much to say about it in the new North Georgia News, and at one point said, quote, "It's a tough issue because it's hard for the general public to know and understand the details of why it's so important." Well, Mr. Paris, I was somewhat insulted by that statement, but with that being said, I do plan to make a point of understanding those details, and I pray others will join me in holding the county accountable for where our tax dollars are being spent. For starters, thanks Pam for showing me on the website the reports listing SPLOS projects and the current expenditures. I understand that SPLOS 3 is done. SPLOS 4 commenced in 2015 and it's anticipated to come to an end shortly of the spending. Question, when did the tax collecting start for SPLOS 4 and 5? And when will the tax rate drop? I understand the state of Georgia has a 4% tax, and we here in Blairsville have taxed ourselves another additional 3%. I need to find out what makes up that 3% and when our taxes will go down when these SPLOS are over. The transfer station is a sore topic these days. Was SPLOS supposed to eliminate our garbage fees? I thought so. Looking at the reports, SPLOS 3 was budgeted to spend $833,000. They spent $97,625 according to reports. SPLOS 4 budgeted $289,989. And through last year, October, only $129,779 has been spent. So Pam tells me the updated report will be coming out soon. And just on another note, exciting news, Tuesday, the Supreme Court of the United States will finally be handed the lawsuit with the 2020 election evidence from Mike Lindell, along with 37 AGs. Woo! Also, voter GA requested ballot images from all counties in Georgia. 74 out of 159 counties were unable to produce the original ballot images. I believe that Union County was one of those who were unable to produce them. I really just have to double check on that fact. I'm not 100% sure on that.
It's true.
And I thank you very much.
It's true.
The next speaker will be Cindy Vandery, I'm sorry, to speak on T-SPLOS.
Okay, so thank you for allowing me to speak. In the article on the front page of the North Georgia News dated November 10th, 2021, it was clear that the citizens of Union County spoke loud and clear and voted down T-SPLOS. Even though only a quarter of the county voted, it was a resounding no. At the previous commissioners' meetings, the citizens in attendance made it clear that we were not for T-SPLOS. But Mr. Paris said it's a tough issue because it's hard for the general public to know and understand the details of why it's so important. I disagree with that statement. I believe the citizens of Union County are very smart and we fully understand what T-SPLOS is about. There have been several articles in the paper where open records requests were obtained and the monies are not always going where they said they are going to be spent. By law, the projects would need to be specifically identified, and in some cases on level 1 projects, they should not be abandoned or changed, and the monies then spent elsewhere. So as citizens, these are our taxpayer dollars, and we would like to see truth and honesty and not be threatened if T-SPLOS does not pass, that you're going to then raise our property taxes. It was pretty much said you'll get the money one way or the other. Mr. Paris said he was planning to cut property taxes with the passing of T-SPLOS, which would have freed up from the general fund the considerable cost of the county to operate the roads department, though that was no longer in the cards. Then you went on to say, as the economy remains up, you don't anticipate raising our taxes. Part of the reason T-Splosh was voted down is because the economy is far from being up. The only things that are up are the gas prices, meat, eggs, and all the essentials that people need to live on. You said you may put T-Splosh back on the ballot in May of 2022. At the rate our country is going in, by next May, we're gonna be in worse shape than we are now. So with property reassessment, you were adamant at one of the meetings that we needed to wait until the assessment was done because you said our taxes would not necessarily go up. That was not the case, as most of us saw they did. My property taxes doubled. You then said if we can sell it to the public ahead of time and let them understand it. All I have to say about that is that I think that the citizens of this county fully understand that we're not stupid. We understand what's being done with T-Splosh. So I don't agree with that statement at all. And lastly, why did T-Splosh fail? The article in the newspaper said it best. On top of people simply not wanting an increase at the cash register, many factors went into the defeat, including a string of publicly unpopular moves by Commissioner Paris in the last couple years. The pair of real estate purchases in 2020 during the pandemic, as an example. And I'll quote the article that was in the newspaper. The Hill property for future development from former Union General Hospital CEO Mike Gowder, who is currently in prison for prescription drug fraud. The old Georgia Boot Factory, property on which Mr. Paris hopes to one day build a new Union County Sheriff's Office and jail. This county can't survive on future hopes and dreams. Part of the problem that I see is that one person is making all the decisions with no input from those of us that are footing the bill. I think it's time for Union County to bring a vote on a board of commissioners instead of a sole commissioner.
Amen.
Number 18, Speaker Alex Moore has requested to be on the agenda to speak about integrity and trust in government. Obviously said that name wrong, Alexis.
That's okay, because I just heard it whispered around the room, and that was kind of neat. Alexis, I'm Alexis.
Mrs. Moore, please come up.
So on my way here, actually, I was meaning to be a little early, and I couldn't find my keys, which is not something that normally happens for me. I mean, like 30 minutes tearing my place apart, and then I thought, it's the script. I wrote the script, and it's like, please God, help me find my keys. I'll ditch the script, like the script. The thing is I don't do real well with scripts because it's contrived. I'm a feeling person. That's why I want to get up here and speak about integrity. That's something that you feel. So I'm just going to ditch this and I'm going to go off the cuff here. And thankfully, Cindy covered some of the things that helps with what I'm going to say. So something that I've observed, a theme over the last few years in politics is noticing, as a behavior specialist, is noticing that our political leaders are displaying the same behaviors that I would expect to find in an emotional abuser and narcissist. And what I mean by that is gaslighting, scapegoating, isolating dissenting voices, silencing people. A lot of us have noticed this over the last few years. So I have found this correlation to be a very interesting tool for me, because I know that someone standing in integrity is not going to also have the characteristics of an emotional abuser. So I find it really easy to use that as a measure for whether or not a political leader is deserving of my trust. So that's been really helpful and very eye-opening over the last few years. So I just kind of used my intro there, but I'm gonna now leave the page. So a couple of those things that I've noticed, unfortunately. So when I first met you, Mr. Commissioner Paris, I told you that I had been asking around and I had heard a lot of rumors, bad things. okay? And I told you that, to me, those are only rumors, that I'm aware that people are not trusting their government, and I'm going to chalk it up to that for now, but I'm going to be diligently coming to meetings and checking to see, because the only thing I care about is whether or not I feel you're in integrity. And I talk with you about trust at every meeting. I say it every single time, because it's all I care about. To me, the most important job that our sole commissioner has is to be standing in integrity. First and foremost, it's the most important job. Second is to hear what we have to say, because we are the checks and balances. We are the only checks and balances. The citizens are. We are also a public servant works for us. We pay the salary of our sole commissioner. So hearing what we have to say is the second most important thing, because you are then to implement the things that are our concerns. So that's where I started noticing some behaviors that I'm finding these traits also in our sole commissioner. I'm finding gaslighting. Cindy, thankfully, gave a whole bunch of examples of the gaslighting. We are intelligent creatures. We might not have all of the details, but we're trying, we're coming, and we're figuring it out. I remember at the last meeting, a woman stood up and asked about how are we supposed to know where the SPLOST funds are going if it can be changed legally? And the instant response from our sole commissioner was to say that he was offended that she would ask after everything he did to get her road paved. That's a non-answer. That is actually publicly shaming and discrediting the person asking the question. See, I've been noticing these behaviors. I've been noticing a lot of these behaviors. So when I went back in trying to learn what the heck a SPLOST is, I saw some videos from about 10 years ago where I discovered that there was a citizen of Union County that was asking questions. She was filing records requests, and she was taking her findings and filing complaints. And whether or not her findings were true, that was a lot of work and a lot of money that went into that. And she was behaving as the only checks and balances that our sole commissioner has. So his response, what I would expect as a response to that by someone standing in integrity, is to simply stand up, share the facts, and let them speak for themselves. Because the truth does not mind being questioned, ever. But instead what I found is 2 videos online. Justin Turner, I think, is the Justin Turner. Anyway, the videos are online. And I found that 30 minutes in both county meetings, on record, in front of her peers, he called this woman the B word, but actually used the word. I wouldn't use it. He called the man helping her a scumbag. He said that they are misfits that do not belong, and basically let it be known that anyone that goes along with it also is part of them and doesn't belong. And I have to say, I'm standing up here right now to protect my fellow citizens that are asking questions. I'm standing up here right now to say that we are the checks and balances, and we need to be safe. We need to know that we are not going to be destroyed publicly in our small community by asking questions. And I know that by simply shining a light on the behavior, it no longer has power. So if we see that happening, we now know what it is, okay? And I'm not here to attack you. I'm just here to share what I've discovered because I find it concerning. Thank you.
Diana Barton is requested to be on the agenda to speak about property purchase.
Thank you. You have to warn me about this. I won't remember. Hi, I'm Diana Barton. I'm too loud. I have a very loud voice. Today I'd like to address a property purchase we made on 1159 Riverbend Farm, which has been brought up. It was 3.8 acres and a home, and we purchased that in 2020 as the county did. I want to give a little background. On 8/1/2014, Jackie Lance Hill, as a life estate, sold this parcel to Gowder. On 1/3/20, Gowder sold the property to BLK LLC, which the member running BLK LLC is W.C. Nielsen Jr. They sold it for $450,000, Gowder did to BLK. 6 months later, BLK LLC, under the member owner W.C. Nielsen Jr., sold to Union County this property for $750,000, $750,000. That meant BLK in 6 months and like 18 days, made $300,000 off of Union County. Now, this is a life estate, and I'm just gonna give you a little background of a life estate. In a life estate, we cannot touch that property until the person who owns the life estate passes. So Jackie Lance Hill has the life estate. So until she passes on, the property is of no value to Union County. We cannot do anything with it. And I'm getting off my script a little bit. This life estate is supposed to maintain the property, maintain insurance on the property, and pay the taxes. But for some reason, we have this piece of property as tax exempt. Under the life estate, again, with her having to pay the taxes, we have to protect ourselves because this is 3.82 acres and it has a very large house on it. And 3.82 acres is not valued at $750,000. So realistically, we need to hold insurance on this property because if they fail to hold insurance on it and that particular property burns to the ground, we have 3.82 acres of burned property. So what we need to do, oh, and the other thing is with a life estate, Jackie Lance Hill is allowed to lease or rent that property. So she can actually rent it out or lease that property for as long as she's alive and collect rents and leases on this piece of property. We get no benefit of that. Some questions as we as a community should be asking: why would our county pay $300,000 more for this parcel in 6 months? This parcel was purchased in, it was in June, I believe, of 2020. That was right when the housing department, the houses were just barely starting to creep up. There's no reason for us to have paid that type of price for that property. Another question we should ask our government was there an appraisal done before we purchased that property? I've asked for public records and so far I've gotten nothing on that. And the other big question is, why would we buy a life estate? How many of you in this audience would buy a life estate not knowing when that person may pass away and you'll be able to use that property? You may pass before that property loses the life estate. Again, do we carry property and do we carry liability on that parcel? We could be held liable if there's an accident on that property. So those are some things we as a community should be looking at and asking our government. The big thing, why aren't they paying taxes on this property? Okay, then we come to the part of the agenda. There was a called meeting on, I'm gonna go back to my notes here. There was a called meeting on this on June 17th at 4 p.m. A called meeting requires 24 hours notice. At that called meeting, that was when it was mentioned that we were going to buy that property. And I'm gonna read you this. This is the called meeting. The meeting was called in order by Commissioner Lamarck Harris at 4 p.m. The commissioner accepted a real estate purchase agreement between Union County and BLK LLC for the purchase of 3.82 acres and a home located on lot such and such for $750,000. Commissioner Paris said the purchase contract was being done at the last minute because sometimes property purchases cannot be planned. This particular contract needed to be in place and Union County could have the opportunity to purchase the property this Friday. Has any of you bought a house and closed on a piece of property in, like 24 hours? So we have some concerns about that, okay?
Ms. Clark.
Yes.
Your 5 minutes is up.
Can I have like one more minute?
Please.
Please. Okay, all right. If anybody would like to see the rest of this about the open meeting laws, I'll be real happy to meet you afterwards.
Okay, obviously, we don't have time to address all of these many issues. I am gonna make just a couple of comments, so some of my friends, maybe not too many in here, they'll be scrunching in their seats probably, saying, what's he gonna say? But basically, the same thing that we said during the T-Splosh is that we were taking the high road, and every time somebody came up with something either mistrue, misrepresenting, not correct, we made that determination that we were not gonna go to the paper, to every letter to the editor, to every comment, to every crappy, if you don't like the word, I'm sorry, every crappy email that I get from people that are mean and insensitive. Got just something right here, and I appreciate the fact that so far tonight, everybody has been kind, and that's the way we wanna keep it. I am gonna make just a few comments. Number one, I was born, raised, lived, went to school in Union County. I've been in office here going on 21 years. And anybody that knows me in Union County knows that these things that are being said are not accurate, or they are misrepresenting the facts. Sometimes the people are doing it intentionally. Most times I think they're doing it because just of a lack of the proper information. Just like this lady that was just
My name is Diana Barton.
Diana Barton.
Okay.
Unless I get crucified tomorrow, I've never heard of W.C. Nelson having anything whatsoever to do with this property. So I don't know where that came from, I don't know. But it's just it's just a typical example of how misinformation is out there all over the place. And so I know a lot of you people are fairly new to the county. I can't get up here and just in a few minutes respond to these many things, but I can tell you a lot of them are misrepresentations. If somebody had a real interest, including you, ma'am, and this is nothing negative about you, but I'm saying this about everybody that spoke tonight. All you've got to do is come to my office, either write down on the paper what your particular question is, or your questions, come there and we'll be glad to give you a response to it. Because these things need responses, but I'm not gonna go out and spend all the time responding to every little thing, except to tell you that it's a sad day in Union County, that a lot of these things, and even your comments, I appreciate you, I have nothing against you, but I think your comments are misled as well. I think and it's not intentional, I don't think. I think you're a very nice person. I just think you don't know the facts. And so when you don't know the facts, and then you try to say, well, why didn't you tell us the facts? As a commissioner, it doesn't matter if you're a commission board or a sole commissioner, you've got a huge, difficult job to do. And you can't go to the public every time you've got a decision to make. That's what we're elected for, is to make those decisions, to make the hard decisions, and that's what I do. That's what I've done this whole time I've been in office. And if you find anybody out there that knows me, that thinks I'm a crook, that thinks I'm dishonest, that I'm telling you that knows me, let me know. Because we try to do what's best, and every decision we make, we try to do what's best for the citizens of Union County. And we try to do it in the cheapest and the best method. We have the best rural hospital. We have the best school system. We have the best recreation department, fire department, sheriff's department. You can just go on and on at the things that we have in Union County. That's why you people moved here. You didn't move here to come to a county that had nothing, that had terrible services, that had terrible roads. You came here because you like Union County, and there was something here that you liked, or why did you come? So all I'm asking now, if you have a question or a concern about anything that you either got up here and spoke tonight or thought about while it was going on, all you gotta do is come to my office. The preferred method would be just to write down, what is your question? We'll give you the response, as long as it's something that we can and have that information available. But anyway, that's all I think that's all I'm gonna say about that. I appreciate everybody coming tonight. I'm gonna take a few questions. I'm not gonna take many because we've been here a long time. If you've already been up here, we are not gonna take any more questions from those that have already been up here. We're gonna try to give time for those that have not to ask questions. Again, I'm not gonna answer, probably won't have time or the effort to answer all of them. My answer may be, come to the office, write down what you wanna know, we'll give it to you. So, yes, sir, first.
Commissioner, I have a question about the property that was purchased down on Highway 515, which was supposed to have been the shotgun and the BB range for FFA and the school. I understand the deed has been transferred to the Development Authority, and they have just recently sold it to a private developer. Is that true?
That's true. I don't think it's a developer, I think it's an auction company. Yes, that's true.
Could you tell us the name or share the name of that company?
If I had it, I'd tell you, but I don't have it with me. You're welcome to.
The Development Authority would know, Mitch Griggs.
Yeah, Mitch Griggs at the Development Authority could give you that, but we gave it to them to sell. They sold it, we have the money, except for the small fee we gave them to be the selling agent, which is the way any government typically disposes of property. Because I can't go out and give it to my friend or associate or anybody else. It has to go out through the Development Authority, and then the Development Authority sells it out to the public.
But we were supposed to, I understood, we were having a budget meeting tonight. In this budget, where would we find the advertisement for the monies that the Development Authority is spending? Do they have their own budget?
They do. And this is not a budget hearing tonight.
Well, I know, I'm just asking.
Okay.
Sir, you discredited my voice and said it was misinformation.
Hold on.
I do expect to ask you what I said that was misinformation. Otherwise, that was very discrediting.
I've already said I'm not gonna answer any other questions.
Thank you.
All you gotta do is bring it in writing.
I just wanted to clear my name of what you
You
said.
made several comments that were uncomfortable to me that I don't feel like were appropriate to be made,
Okay.
or that they were accurate. But I did not make notes on all of those because there were so many people saying so many different things, and so that's why I'm not gonna do that, but you're welcome. Yes, sir.
Thank you for your time, sir. My name is Dustin Barnes. I'm a disabled veteran. I did 4 tours in Afghanistan. I just want to comment on the vaccination thing that you brought up. And a question for you, sir, is this. My wife is pregnant, and I have a letter here signed by Dr. Benjamin Harris on behalf of Union County General Hospital denying her service when she said, I'm a Christian and I won't wear a mask because I don't believe in it. And they said, well, you can't get treated here. So now my wife's pregnancy is complicated, and she's set to schedule a C-section. And they're saying, well, we're not going to schedule you. Best bet is to rush the ER and see if they'll serve you without a mask. This is coming from a staff that doesn't wear masks behind closed doors.
Yeah.
This is coming from a staff that goes to the angles in their scrubs.
Yep.
Their dirty scrubs after work. And now we're gonna do this vaccination thing. So my question to you, all these questions about taxpayers, all our taxes going up, all these imports, you're separating us from the people that are born here. If we're paying taxes and this money's going to Union County Hospital, how much more is the budget gonna go to Union County when they deny people for the vaccination?
Sir, the Union General Hospital is not, it's not a wing of the county.
It's not.
No, sir.
They don't get any money from the county.
Yes,
Not that I'm aware of.
they do.
County-
They do.
We do some paving for them, and we
Yeah.
participate in buying an ambulance
Okay.
about every 2 years for the hospital.
But the government doesn't have an authority, that's a private hospital. They
Okay.
have their own board and they set their.
You don't meet with anybody from the private hospital?
Aren't you on the
Yes.
Board of Health?
I do.
Are you on the board of
But
health?
I'm,
Yeah.
no, I'm not on board. But I've never heard what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do. I don't know what their policy is.
Okay, so are you
But,
gonna
but
support
I'm-
these vaccination mandates in your county when these people don't want
Say
it?
again, say again.
Are you gonna support these vaccination mandates in your county? You obviously supported the mask mandates. There's Marxist propaganda all over this city.
Yep.
Like, when are we gonna call it enough? No one here wants to play the game anymore.
Amen.
It's kind of the same thing. We're not, county's not doing anything. We don't have any mask mandates.
You're right, the county's not doing anything.
County government
I had to
does-
get my disabled plate in the parking lot this summer with my daughter. They wouldn't serve me. I was a second-class
The
citizen.
Superior Court of the state of Georgia required that when the Superior Court judge told us we had to do masks, and that was anybody that walked in the courthouse. That is since
can't say
closed
no to
probably a
that.
month ago.
Sir, yeah, that was
Yes.
done by the chief judge of the notice circuit.
And we just don't say, no, that's not us in Union
Judge
County. We
Charles.
can't say
Can't
that.
say no to that?
Can't, so what?
You can't just say no. You can't
Right.
just
No.
support this county. No?
Absolutely not. Not
Then-
against the Superior Court
Then
judge
how do
who
we
controls
vote?
this courthouse.
What does voting for you do for us then, if you can't stand up for us?
Amen.
We've got certain jobs that we could do. Nobody can do everything. I'm sorry you feel that way.
It seems like nobody's doing anything. What is the how do you define leadership? Let's go with that question.
That's not true.
It's
That's not true that nobody is doing anything.
okay.
That's
Well,
just simply not true. But I'm sorry, I don't know anything about their procedures, what they do,
You
who
do
they
now.
require to have a mask on or who they
Can't
don't
get the
require.
attorney's office.
I was at a doctor today in Gainesville, I had to wear a mask. I
Yeah.
was at a different one, a different time, you go to any
Why
doctor's
did you wear a
office,
mask at that doctor's office if you're not now? Do you not believe in it? Because that would be integrity, which she brought up.
you go to any doctor's office away from here and probably here, there's a door, sign on the door, you have to wear a mask. You don't have to like it, I don't have to like it, don't have to do it. There's some doctors,
You
I'm
do
sure, that
have
don't
to do it, or
require
you get
that.
a letter that says we're not gonna serve you, and it has Union on here. This is Union County.
But it has nothing to do with the Union County government.
Then why did they name it after this county?
What?
The hospital. Why are you buying them ambulances? Why is there?
We're supporting a great hospital.
It's not great if they don't
If you
serve
don't
the
think it's
people.
great,
They won't
take
serve.
it up with the administration over there. That's who you go to.
Well, I'm hoping I can take
You
it
don't
up
come
with
to the
you.
county meeting to talk about a facility that we have no control of.
But can't you go talk to them and say, why aren't you serving our people for their Christian beliefs?
If you write
You
down,
can't say that?
if you were to write down what you're saying tonight, I
Yeah.
can't pick all this up. If you wanna write that down, bring it to our office and ask us if we would take it to the hospital administrator,
Okay.
we'll be glad to do
You will.
it. Yes, sir.
Okay. Do that.
Commissioner, may I correct the attorney, Mr. Mercer? Mr. Mercer, the union.
Excuse me. No, I hadn't called you yet. Sorry. There's other people that still wanna speak. Yes, sir, in the back on the right.
Commissioner Parrish, Murphy, Marble, Johnson City, Tennessee, they're all having a huge problem with crypto mining. I sent you a couple emails about that. I'm just wanting to know, are you aware of this, and is there anything that Union County can do to keep this from disrupting our little community here?
I actually, I'm sorry, I don't think I've got back to you yet, but yesterday I called the mayor of Murphy because I did not know what you were speaking. And so, yes, I spent time on the phone with the mayor. He explained the whole process to me, told me what they were doing, and they're currently in a moratorium to try to see, and they're trying to figure out what to do. Basically, it's a system or a business that has all of these computer controlled terminals, like thousands of them apparently. And so they have cooling fans And the first one they did in Murphy was in a huge building over there that bothered no one. The second one they did, the mayor was telling me, did have some residual sound from it. So they are in the process of working with the company to try to take care of that sound. But until you sent that, until yesterday when I actually talked to the mayor, was that today or yesterday? Yesterday. I didn't, that was news to me. So it's a huge operation over there, and they've got a huge 20,000 square foot underground, partially underground building that's, it's a huge economic impact for them, but on the other hand, they want to solve the noise part. So yes, we're gonna be looking at that to see what they've determined and, what we have to determine to see if that does come along, which it's not very likely, but if it does, we'll be able to address it.
Well, one of the issues with them is the reason they're coming to the southern states is because power is cheaper. And
Right.
that's their biggest expense is power.
Right.
Now, I would think that around here, we've got enough problems with power outages, sporadic power
I agree
outages.
with that.
Not to have a business like that that's power intensive to come in. In Johnson City, Tennessee, they kinda got snookered because the building, the permit that they applied for was for a data center. They didn't really spell out what they were gonna do.
Well, I think it really is I think that's the correct name for it, is a high-speed, high-volume data center.
Well, they weren't entirely truthful on what they were gonna do and what the impact of it. And they're actually suing these people now to either stop what they're doing or come up with some type of noise abatement program for it. In fact, some of the people in Murphy are saying if you can see it, you can hear it. But there are a lot of other people there that are saying you don't have to see it and you can still hear it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that information, because if you hadn't have sent me a note on that, I wouldn't really have understood or known what that was. Yes, sir.
Were you consulted by the DOT about the change at 325 and 515? And if you were, did you have any input into it, maybe suggesting that the citizens of Union County have an open meeting regarding that change? And did they consult with the Saddle Club, the problems it's gonna present for large horse trailers having to make multiple U-turns and entering traffic lanes more than once?
Okay, you're talking about the intersection where the lady was killed?
Yes, 325 and 515. It's a hurry up process with the DOT.
Well,
The
it's as
contracts-
hurried up as they can get, which is pretty slow.
But did they consult with you, and did anybody give us the opportunity?
Yeah, let me answer. They first came to us, and, well, actually, we went to them and said, is there a possibility to put a red light there at that intersection? This is the horse arena, 325 and 515. And, they, after a little while of studying it and doing whatever it is they do, there's not enough traffic volume there for a red light, so they wouldn't approve a red light, even they just wouldn't approve a red light there. And so we asked them, well, what else is it you can do? Or is there anything else you can do? He said, yeah, we can do the same thing we did at Walmart, which is a R-cut, which means you can't go across the highway. If you go into if you come out of the horse arena and you wanna go to Blue Ridge, go to Blairsville, then you gotta turn right, and they go up a quarter of a mile, they're gonna put a crossover or a U-turn spot, and then you can U-turn back to Blairsville. And if it's the opposite way, if you're coming from Highway 325, the old Blue Ridge Highway, and you wanna go to Blue Ridge, then you gotta turn right toward Blairsville, go a quarter mile, make that turn, that U-turn, and go to Blue Ridge. So what
I've
it keeps,
asked for this.
now, whether it's the best thing to do or not, I don't know. They don't listen to us on that part.
I've
But-
asked for the study of that and the study at Pat Caldwell and the Murphy Highway. Because if they're going to do this, I can't tell you what percentage increase on Pat Caldwell there will be, but there will be an increase of traffic going to the junction of Murphy Highway. because people aren't going to do this loop, this haircut. They're just not gonna.
Well, they have to, they have to
Not
do
all
it.
of them, I know, not all, and then the Walmart.
Just like at Walmart, you have to
but
do it.
Walmart's got
a red light.
Walmart's
Excuse
got,
me, ma'am.
yeah, Walmart's got two ways. So you can come back out and use a red light. This you don't. You're gonna be forced, and I use it frequently. It's, and I think the thing that's disturbing to me is that the citizens of Union County were not given the chance to present information regarding this.
Okay, it seems that everybody thinks that when there's a decision to be made about anything, pretty much, that you have to go to all the citizens. I'd be fine with that on this red light, but I had absolutely it's either a R cut or it's nothing. And so we figured a R cut's a whole lot better than nothing, because we never even knew what an R cut was. And ma'am, please, I'll see you and I'll go to you next, okay? But I can't talk to him and you're standing there doing that, sitting there doing that. So the R cut, when they did it at Walmart, we had 2 or 3 traffic deaths at that intersection at Walmart. Once they put that in, I only can recall of one even major, semi-major accident there. So it's worked at that Walmart intersection. You're right, there's a second intersection right up the way that helps. But we don't have anything to do with the design of that. You can ask, I could say, can you come up here and have a public hearing on this? This is their guideline, and this is what they go by, and it comes from the state of Georgia. And so the only other person that you could talk to about this would be our legislators.
I have emailed him and called him, Stan Gunter, on this. He has not returned my call. I've had multiple friends email him and call him. He has not returned our calls or emails. Stan Gunter on this situation is absent.
Well, to take his defense, he's new. This is his first term going in right now at the legislature. He got with Speaker David Ralston, and they did a resolution and some kind of object that they gave to the family of the girl who was deceased. And they had Edith Binks Park. They named that intersection after her. And Stan Gunter was there, is responsible for that. But I just don't think he's been there long enough. He or Senator Gooch or David Ralston are the ones that you need to talk to. Okay. Now, yes, ma'am.
Well, I was just gonna say, I travel that road a lot too, and have ever since they built the 4-lane. I've used that intersection. And when you stop there, I mean, you can see far in all directions. And for me to drive across, to be able to then turn left, it's a lot easier than to go to the right and have to get immediately in the fast lane to take a left turn and be in the fast lane again in order to go to Blairsville. It's just gonna prohibit me to travel to town.
Right. I don't argue that point. It's because we didn't design it. That's something they came up and put in. Like I said, we never even heard of an R cut before.
Can we ask
happened.
you or someone?
Hold on.
Just,
Yeah, I made you wait on her, so let's let me answer her first. Are y'all kin?
We are.
Unfortunately.
Well, not really Ken.
So, anyway, their goal is to keep you going straight across the road, and it does seem counterintuitive. It seems like a waste, but all I can say is there's been a whole lot less accidents and deaths at that intersection at Walmart than there was before it was put in. So that is evidently why the state has decided that's a better option than putting red lights, because I guess a red light probably costs a minimum of $250,000 to $500,000, and probably the R cut, in this case, they've already got one road there. They just have to go up a quarter of a mile and build a new, and they're supposed to be doing that, but this has been several months, so it's been a while. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take yours, but then no more repeat questions, because I got staff here that needs to get home. Okay.
My question to you deals with the transfer station and the commercial part of it. We read in the newspaper that the fee for a minimum dump there has doubled. Is that correct?
that's something, if you wanna call the office and ask, it's a complicated process. And I don't know, I don't even understand it. The only person
Yes
that
or no?
understands it's a couple of these, or you can talk to them one of them after the meeting. But I really can't explain it to you here, what or how, just how it works. But it's, yes, there's an increase in cost because there's an increase in cost to the county. And so there is you're,
No, ma'am.
no, nothing's double. That's more of that information that's just not correct.
In the newspaper,
It was in the
they
paper.
said it doubled.
Ma'am, I can talk to you afterwards and give you the details.
Okay, you can talk to her after.
Okay.
She can give you a response to that. Who else has not asked a question yet? Okay, sir.
I wanted to comment on what he had said, that Union County government does not have anything to do with Union General Hospital. That is incorrect. Union County government owns Union General Hospital. They only operate under a 40-year lease, which is coming pretty close in the near future to expiring. And I believe your wife sits on the board, is that correct?
That's correct.
So you do actually have input or influence into the board.
If you wanna come talk to my wife and ask her what's going on for me, I can assure you, she doesn't tell me nothing. But the reason I put her on the board,
Yeah.
I didn't address, I didn't address that, the hospital, and again, if anybody's got a question about the hospital and wants to address the ownership or how it's operated, you know, bring us a note over to the office or call and have written down what you want answered. What we wanna know is if you've got a comment, you've got a question, you've got a concern, and you really want an answer, we'll get you the answer, but we can't always do it at the county meeting. Because again, I've got staff here, they've been at the office since 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning, and they're tired. I'm tired, we had to go to Gainesville today, get back and get ready for the meeting, which is a huge job under normal conditions. Yes, sir.
Why is there a stopwatch on these meetings that is open to the public? That's fine if somebody wants to come into the office, ask you a question, but you know what, I guarantee you, there's a bunch of us in this audience who has the same question. And this is the appropriate venue for questions to be asked. And if this meeting has to go on for an hour and a half or 2 hours, so be it.
Here, here.
No, sir.
That's what we paid.
That's not the way it works.
Well, you're cutting off public input.
No,
Yes,
no,
you are.
cutting off. You and 5 other people or 10 other people got the same question. You can't just call the office, or you can't come by the office and say, here's my question, would you get me an answer? Then we can answer it one time, send it to those people who had sent us a request for it, and you've got the answer. We do not have the time to stay here all night to answer a question that can be answered in our office.
We're not talking
You
about.
can call it, you can call it whatever you want to, but we're being simple and common sense and looking after our staff. And we are not keeping you from getting any information that you need about Union County. In fact, we're giving you a better way to get it,
No,
because
you're
we
not.
don't have to sit here for 2.5 hours.
Because
And if you don't agree, hey,
community.
I'm talking, when I finish, you can talk, otherwise you can leave,
I'm not gonna leave.
okay? That's deputy,
Really?
come on.
How much does your staff get paid?
Hey,
Wow.
this gentleman, could you ask for
Thank
him out
God
of?
this is your last
out of-
term.
Wow. Wow.
We are not, I or my staff, this staff, we are not gonna be disrespected.
What about when you called Linda the
This
B word?
This county meeting is adjourned.